A very good Friday morning to you, and I hope I find you very, very well on what seems to be quite a calm, kind of pleasant autumn morning here in Manchester. Well, at least it's not raining, so that's a good thing. First thing I need to say is a big thank you. Thank you to everyone that's pushed me to the 500 subscriber number, which was my own realistic target, I feel, for my little channel. And since that day, a couple of days ago, we've gone above that. I'm now, as we speak, in the 520s plus, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm overwhelmed by that growth, and also all the messages that I've got from long-standing subscribers and you new guys that are coming along, and hopefully I'll keep you all entertained. Today is one of my kind of off-the-wall videos. It's not about watches, so if you're looking for watch content, I'm not going to say maybe look elsewhere. Stick around. I think you might enjoy this because it's quite important, I feel, to us. Now, when I say us, I don't mean the watch collecting community. I mean human beings, us. What we're going to talk about today is this. No, not the A1. This. AI, artificial intelligence. Now, why do I want to talk about this? Well, I want to talk about this because it's one of the many things that fascinate me, intrigue me, worry me sometimes. If you're new to my channel, I'm kind of a very eclectic guy, and a lot of stuff interests me, and it floats around in here and comes out of here and goes into the camera and out to you guys. Artificial intelligence has raised something recently that has concerned me. You probably saw the introduction picture of the video, which said Google DeepMind. Now, Google, well, we all know Google. Google, of course, are the most famous search engine on the planet. Of course they are. But they're involved in so many other things. At the moment, one of their legion projects is something called DeepMind. And as the title of that little branch of the company suggests, it's something to do with what's between our ears. Or more importantly, what's not between our ears, but what's not between anybody's ears. What it is artificial intelligence. I wrote something down here that caught my attention. It was in the news about a month ago now, and at that point I was still on my little break from YouTube. And this is kind of what worried me, that whether we, as a civilization of the planet, should allow this to carry on. Google had a piece of artificial intelligence called AlphaGo. Now, AlphaGo has been under development with Google for a long time, and what it basically is a totally independent, I want to say machine, because I've not got a better explanation of what it is. So on that basis, I will call it a machine. What it's actually done, it has beaten the world's best player in a game called Go. And Go is a very complex, very hard game to learn to play, which is Chinese in origin. Now, you may have seen it being played in movies and things. It's a board a little bit like a chessboard with what looks to be, to all intents and purposes, black and white pebbles on there. Well, they set AlphaGo the task of playing, say, the #1 player in the world, who's a gentleman called Master Lee Se-dol, who has been unbeaten for many, many years. Hence, he is a grandmaster at the game of Go. And he played this machine, and the machine beat him. Now, how did it do that? Well, how it did that was, unlike a lot of chess playing machines, who basically look at the rules of chess, all the moves the chessmen can make, all the possible outcomes of all the possible moves, all the history of all the games that have been played by all the famous players such as Bobby Fischer, etc., and putting them in a memory. Not just that with this particular piece of AI, what it's done with this game of Go is that it's looked at all the rules, all the possible moves, all the possible strategies, all the possible outcomes of all the games that have been played, how the games that have been played could have changed their outcome if one opponent or the other had changed the things that they'd done, but then put its own independent thought on how to win. And that's indeed what it's done. It won. It won a game on its own. So you say, well, okay, Stuart, that's fine and dandy, but why is that important to us? Well, kind of why that's important to us is we are the dominant species on the planet because of one thing, because of what's between our ears, because of this 3.5 pound lump of cells and liquid and electricity that allows us to be creative, individual, funny, sarcastic, ironic, whatever else we want to be, which this is just a vehicle for carrying this around, and that commands all this to work on a daily basis. So that's kind of what makes us who we are, and being the dominant species on the planet. Now, all of a sudden, what we're seeing right now, and we've seen for a while, is, we've got these things that we carry around with us all the time. Now, if you're an Apple user, you can talk to Siri. Siri is a version of AI, albeit quite basic, but nevertheless, it's a very basic version of AI. You have this, which is Android. On this, you've got, Hello Google, and that is the same, a similar thing to Siri. You've got Cortana on laptops. You've got your intelligent cars now. That, well, in the 80s, when I was kind of 20 years old, I dreamed, as no doubt a lot of people of my age did, thinking it'd be brilliant to be able to talk to your car. Now, I've been able to do that for the past 6 years. Yes, okay, I've not been able to have an intellectual conversation about the artistic merits of Shakespeare, for instance, but I press a button and tell my car to do something, and it does it. But my latest car, not only can it do all that, but it monitors the well-being of the car and tells me if there's something wrong. Something as insignificant as a low tyre pressure in one tyre on the vehicle. We are seeing the evolution and the introduction of self-driving cars. Cars that you can literally, the Tesla right now, that is ready to go. You can get that on a highway, put it in self-drive, take your hands off the steering wheel, and the thing will drive itself. It will obey speed limits, it will overtake, it will ensure that everything's fine, it will get you to your destination using a link between the car's brain itself and the satellite navigation to get you where you're going perfectly safely. So, the problem that we have here, in my view, and I know we're venturing into conspiracy theories, or as I like to call them if you've not been here before, alternate theories, is that we as human beings can only learn at a certain rate. And we're all aware that there are certain people on the planet who are much brighter than all the other people on the planet. And that's because they're blessed with something that allows them to take on board, relate all the information that they've taken on board, use it and expand upon it, where the rest of us just use what we've got, that we attained from school, and we use that on a daily basis to allow us to live our lives. And we can only learn at a set rate, and the older you get, the slower is the acquisition of knowledge. I've noticed this now that I'm in my 50s. My acquisition of skills, as it were, when I was doing video editing, when I first decided to do YouTube, for instance, learning how to do it took me a little bit longer than it would have done 10 years ago. And that's a natural progression of human being. As we get older, we lose little bits of capacity that we had when we were younger. Now, the problem is with AI, of course, is that they learn at an exponential rate. They can take on far more information than we can ever dream of doing. In effect, they can know everything about everything. I live on the ethos where, I mean, I'm a bit of an oddball kind of guy. I'm interested in many different things, and I know a little bit about a lot of subjects. And that puts me in a very nice position whereby no matter what kind of company I'm in, I can have a conversation because I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. Now, an expert will know a lot about one subject, and I never want to be an expert on anything because in my view you're restricting yourself to that one thing, and the world is too much of a wonderful place just to have a singular interest. But AI, because there is no limitation on how much they can learn, how fast they can learn it, and going on the game of Go that the AlphaGo machine won, there seems to be no limit on how they can work, different strategies, etc. So the question is here, is the situation going to arise where, very much like in Terminator Judgment Day, will machines ever get to the point where they consider us pointless, inadequate, useless? They have got to the point where they've developed to such a high level that their level of thinking is far beyond anything that we as normal human beings with a normal organic brain can even have any form of conception of. I think my worry is, and bear in mind, you know, I hold my hands up and say I am the greatest fan of technology. But technology, in my view, has got to be there to make our lives better, easier, more enjoyable, more fun. But that technology, to enable us to do that, has to be in our control. And up until this point in our history, we've never made anything that can supersede us. It appears to me right now that if we haven't already, we are on the verge of creating something that can make us obsolete. And that worries me slightly. AI could be a great thing. Let's take Stephen Hawking, for instance. The day will come where he will still have the ability to use his brain, and he will be able to think the great thoughts and work out all the great problems that his intellect allows him to do. But as we are all aware, over time, his body is degrading and it's letting him down more and more, and he can do less and less with what he's got. So when the day comes where none of his body works, but hopefully his brain is still functional and he can still, for want of a better phrase, live a life, AI could be fitted into his high-tech chair, and it will anticipate all his needs and all his wants, and will carry them out for him as a symbiotic kind of creature, is, as it were. You know, Stephen Hawking will need it, and it will need Stephen Hawking to actually, for want of another better phrase, exist. But there has to be that control there. And I am worried to an extent that we are now pushing ourselves, because this is what we do. as a species, we tend to wait for somebody to say, that's impossible. It's just impossible. And then we go out to do it. It's a little bit, when the Wright Brothers must have heard somebody say, it's ridiculous. Man will never be able to fly like a bird. What are you doing, boys? So what did they do? They went out and proved those people wrong. And I kind of think that's what we're doing with AI. Throughout the years, people have said, it will never happen. It can't happen because the technology will never be there. But as we're all aware, transistors made such a massive difference. It was such a revolution in electronics. And then, of course, printed circuits, and now graphite and the further development of that, graphene, which has been developed here in Manchester, by the way, which is a great conductor of power, but also they also think it will be the next generation of circuitry. So are we doing what we've always done, which is push ourselves to develop things which other people think are impossible, but we as human beings make them possible? But is this making it possible a one step too far? Let me know what you think about AI, artificial intelligence. It is something that I believe has such great potential for the human race. It may well be the case that AI will come up with a cure for cancer. Who knows? Because it has the power to think outside the box. Something where we keep coming up against a brick wall, perhaps, but perhaps AI will be able to get over that wall and look at something that we can't see quite yet. So maybe that is the potential of AI, but the threat of AI is, will it consider us to be useless, pointless to its existence? And will it, at some point, press that button as it did in Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Who knows? Anyway, I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's an interesting subject. Please let me know what you think. If you are a computer programmer and you are involved in some form of AI development, let me know. Let me know if you have a car that you now talk to that's just blown your mind by being able to speak to your car. Have you got a Tesla? If you're in the States or somewhere, maybe you've got a Tesla and it's the best thing, and you sit there and you think, how does it do this? How does it do this? I know, when I've used tech, when I've got my new mobile phone and things, you think, how does it do that? How does it know how to do that? How does it know where to look for that information? Let me know what you think. As always, put your comments down below. If you want to, make me a video so we can all see what you're talking about. So that's it for this one, people. AI, good thing, bad thing, a threat, perhaps, who knows? So for now, once again, thank you very, very much indeed for getting me to my 500 and indeed beyond. It is brilliant, and I'm very, very, very grateful. My aim for this channel now has been fulfilled. It's all I ever wanted. It's 500 more than I ever thought I would ever get. And I love hearing from everyone, and I will get back to everyone when time allows. So, as I say, put your comments down below, and for now, if you like this one, give it a thumbs up, share it, and all that kind of nonsense. And if it is your first time here, hit that subscribe button, and who knows what might be coming along in the future. So for now, I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.